All right, boom, we back.
Wagwan. Happy Juneteenth, my boy.
Happy Juneteenth to the world, to you, to everybody. The slaves are free ish.
Thank God. Thank God we alive.
Right, the slaves are free ish. Happy to be playing my role on the team.
Right. Also,
Yeah.
I just want to set the record straight for any viewers that we may have out there. I don't identify as ADOS or FBA. I fuck with what the concepts were initially, but you people are fucking wild nowadays. I'm black, and I aspire to be a member of someone who can bring a global coalition of black people together in order to truly get our lick back and resurrect our shit over in the motherland, in the Caribbean, and in America.
Okay, I
Yeah,
like that. I
I
like
just
that.
that. Granted, Juneteenth is definitely our day, but we weren't the only slaves. Caribbean had slaves. Brazil, South America, Central America had slaves as well. I can't speak for the niggas from Africa running over to England and all of that, but I ain't about to get on there today. I'm just saying happy Juneteenth, and I'm here for my Pan Africanist shit.
Yo, that's real. I watched a video of a girl doing the "I'm not black, I'm Dominican."
I saw it circulating, but I didn't click on it. What was she? We know the phrase, but what was it about?
She basically did a follow-up video and
Okay.
kind of explained herself even more. And
Mhm.
I actually really appreciated her explanation. She basically just said that she just wants Dominican people try to make the distinction that they are not African American because they are not African American. They said there's no Dominican person that denies the fact that they have African in their blood. To them, that's somewhat obvious. The
Mhm.
reason that they call themselves Dominican and called that out in particular is because to be Dominican is to be mixed. And she said Dominicans
Mm.
are white, African, and indigenous, not just white, not just black, not just indigenous. And so
Okay.
I was like, when you put it that way, it is most Dominican people that you look at, they're mixed. And
Right.
so as African Americans, a lot of us, I'm, my mom, dark skin, brown skin. She's only still like 80% African. It's still like a little indigenous, a little European, a little this,
Right,
a little
right, right.
that. And so what you're talking about, the black experience is something that I'm like super invested in. And it's something that I take super serious. And before we hop into our episode, this is a good segue to me because I'm not here for the I'm going now switching to music in the DJing world real quick.
Mhm.
Not here for the combination of diaspora music all together.
Oh yeah.
I like
Yeah.
reggae night. I like Afrobeat night. You know what I'm saying? I'm not
No,
I'm here for the reggae clubs and the Afrobeat clubs. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
I'm here
gonna
for
go
that.
there for that experience. You
But
know, I definitely feel you.
I'm playing future because I'm black.
Yeah, no, for sure. Especially on days like Juneteenth. Like I saw somebody, they were ranting because the guys whom I've met before, at least one of the people from Jerk and Jollof or whatever, they're doing a Juneteenth party. And they were just saying, like, now why the hell? Because Jerk and Jollof are absolutely not Black American things. Why on Black American holiday we doing that? And I understand also the protectionism and defensiveness that I think Black Americans get because we do get bashed for doing particular, especially in 2025. Maybe it was the 2000s or something. It was a little more bam bam bam, but Afro beats as we know it today wasn't really around at that point, and like
Right.
the cross culturalism of like Sean Paul and Beyonce was happening in the early 2000s. But other than that, they are very picky and particular about their shit, and we respect that. I'm not going to go to the reggae night and ask them to play Future, but I've definitely DJ Juneteenth parties in the asked to hear some Burner Boy before, and I'm just like, that's not the time. I have a little bit in my deck, but that's not even my forte. That's not where I come from. That's not what I'm really trying to project. So I definitely agree. One other thing, because I know we will bounce into like deeper combos and all of that. I do just wish that we could get over the semantics of being black versus whatever nationality, ethnicity, or like being African American. Like ultimately, in America, in the UK, motherfuckers gonna be like, you black. all around the rest of the world. It's maybe even amongst ourselves. Like, yeah, I can get an African person and be like, "Are you East African versus like West African?" But beyond that, I'm not into the nitty gritty. And most people across the global diaspora don't always just know because of the shape of your head whether or not you Ghanaian or Somali. And ultimately, the colonizers and the motherfuckers who imposed on us for centuries at this point, they didn't give a shit if we was born in Louisiana or Lagos. It doesn't really matter where you're from. They want us collectively. They want our culture collectively. They want to exploit our resources, our creativity, our minds, our science. Like, it's so much shit that we get extracted from us, and we are all at the end of the day from the same seed of the same family tree. So stop
Yeah.
all that, even though it is Juneteenth today, because I'm out there on Ghanaian Independence Day, Nigerian Independence Day, like, and I show love. I play the music. I do all the things. Like, man,
Yeah.
you got to respect people's cultures, but beyond a holiday and a day of commemoration and celebration, the Black struggle is a universal one.
I agree with that. And maybe we need another term if we're going to delineate that black is AKA for African American. If
Mm-hmm.
black is African American, I can live with that. You know what I'm saying? But I agree. There is a bigger African agenda that
Yes.
we all need to be on. However, I will say, until everybody else kind of gives us our credit when they come to America,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't come to our backyard to where we made it safe for you to kind of be yourself and then kind of look down on Sexy Red, look down on Pluto.
It's Juneteenth as a holiday. Like, come on, bro.
So, song of the summer is what?
Ooh, you go first. I gotta think on that. I gotta
It's
think
win.
on that for a
It's
hot
win
second.
whammy. Win whammy.
That was the first one that popped in my head. I would say maybe for the club. For the club. That's not my personal song of the summer. I'm gonna be playing though.
Okay. I think it's
Yeah,
mine right
yeah,
now.
yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's not really my song of the summer, but one that I've really been digging into and looping a lot lately is Kaytranada's Puff Law, like two
Okay.
albums ago. That just was such a mean instrumental.
Okay.
And like, yeah, but also technically summer don't start for like another 2 days. So
True.
it might be something that pops out. Cause I ain't Win Whammy is cool, and I like the TikTok records, but like they don't be. I be playing them, and I'm like, oh, they really do be good for like that 15, 30 seconds, really a verse and a hook. Like I want to say an actual song of the summer is an actual song.
You want
So I,
something a little
I,
bit
I think
more.
I think I will revisit my joint in a
Well,
couple of
to
weeks.
your point, summer haven't hasn't started yet.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
okay. So
Yeah, but that is a hot record though. She definitely in her bag.
I always like the original versions of the song too, where they got the
Mm-hmm.
homie on there before they get the remix. I
Exactly.
mean,
Exactly.
I
Exactly.
always like that version too. Are we here for the clips? They put out another record. So be it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm a fan. I know last episode I was saying because for y'all who don't know, Esco is really like when I met him when we went to high school around the corner from each other, and like they would come over sometimes to practice track at my school, and met him that way. And of course, we bonded and became friends over things like music, art, culture, yada yada yada. So we know each other over 20 years now, so crazy or whatnot. But when I met Ryan, he was a skater kid that was in his Pharrell Neptune Star Trek bag, heavy like that was his pocket or whatnot. So, like again, I
The
think he
fact it's still
definitely,
going, it's getting another run. It's
yeah,
crazy.
yeah, 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 yeah. And I am
Yeah.
definitely a fan, but I'm not gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm more of a fan of this shit than Ryan is. This is
Oh yeah,
definitely
yeah, yeah.
Ryan. This is definitely Ryan domain. I do want to go to the show though. But all of that to say, I'm happy for it. I feel people saying, because I felt the same way, like, you ain't really got to pick on Travis. I am happy with the fact that he exposed it, though. That
Yeah.
was something that I did like. He could have just kept it in the interview. I appreciate the fact that he put it on wax and it's in print. I actually
Mhm.
think that's cool. Um, Push, I know he just posted like that picture of old boy that Trav got into a fight with or whatever, Tiger Man's was AE or whatnot. And
He
I know
been said
people
something
also
about that
talking.
though. I didn't trip off that. He been said something about that.
Yeah, yeah, no, for sure, for sure, for sure.
Uh-huh.
Same Z's. I just saw a lot of pushback talking about him because he almost 50, yada yada yada. I'm like, man, whatever. And honestly, Push probably wouldn't have even made that post if Trav didn't make a post first or
What did
whatever.
he
So
say?
it just
What did Travis say? I missed that.
it was like a image of Pusha T, some AI shit with like him with like a salamander, a lizard or something like that, because of some reference of I think Travis saying he saw Pusha T in a dream with the pet lizard. I don't really know what that thing is, but Trav posted it and I saw that like 2 days ago now. And the Pusha thing I saw yesterday. So it just adds to the saga. They both like wrestling and sport, so the theatrics might go up. Travis Scott, I would hope Travis Scott actually do a little quick 2, 3, 4 bar like pushback, but he's not going to win a rap battle against Pusha T. And I actually like the record; like it's a cool record. I'm liking what the album's starting to sound like. What it probably will be.
Yeah, I think
Mm-hmm.
that's more important to me.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Malice giving us flawless verses, clean, flawless
Yeah,
verses
yeah, and still
is,
talking some stuff too. Yeah.
man, he might be up there as far as you talk about 50 plus rappers. And I
Mm-hmm.
love the fact that I can say that.
Mm-hmm.
It's real
Mm-hmm.
sad to me that like it's interesting how millennials are willing to give rappers and hip hop artists the grace to age. And
Mm-hmm.
for whatever reason, Gen Z, younger people who aren't even of their generation of the people that they're defending
Mm-hmm.
are like pushing back against that, which to me, all of this is important because, you know, I went to the Kendrick show, raps Euphoria out loud, which is
Mm-hmm.
another, it's just a spiritual experience.
Mm-hmm.
And for Drake to have created a space to where Kendrick Lamar can start headlining football stadiums, um,
Mm-hmm.
that the clips can be relevant in 2025.
Man.
I don't know if he knows how much deeper or further that this can go. And we've
Mm-hmm.
never seen a rap battle like this. Only
Right.
because when Drake and Nas was going at it, I mean Nas and Jay-Z, excuse me. When Nas and Jay-Z was going at it, it was other little side jabs. You know, he went at Mob Deep. People feel like he was always kind of like Jay-Z is a petty rapper. So he's always kind of
Right.
hovering around all the rappers because he wants to be the best New York rapper. And at that time, it was so many New York rappers, right? And so now you have this thing to where beef is back,
Mm-hmm.
rap battling, people breaking down lyrics are back. And we have
Mm-hmm.
this push and pull, which I think is the same push and pull people are feeling with playing new music and old music.
Mm.
Instead of the conversation being, man, I just want a DJ to play good music. The
Right.
conversation is new versus old,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so it's all so nuanced, but it has such big ramifications even as we kind of transition into Juneteenth because, you know, brands are trying to connect themselves with the culture we know for sure as advertising,
Mm-hmm.
unless you are, let's say 45 plus and 20,
Mm-hmm.
30 years ago, you were doing the multicultural advertising for your agency or that was your
Mm-hmm.
specialty, which 20, 25 years ago was just Latin and Latino and black. But that was the
Yeah.
multicultural, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like now we're in a place to where like all that nuance is kind of what this whole conversation is about. It's like lost. And
Mm.
so like nothing can really truly be appreciated for what it is. And I hate to blame him, but with great power comes great responsibility. He was right. No one man should have all that power.
Mm.
This is all stemming from Kanye West's lack of mental stability. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like all of this. I can't even, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Kanye was actually the bridge between Drake and Kendrick.
Yes.
Kanye was supposed to be the person to create the space, and I created so many good beats that you two were forced to work together. Drake, I'm gonna help you
Right.
kind of curate and go where this needs to go because you actually are that good.
Mm-hmm.
You are that talented. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? That and so now that we've lost that nuance and all of our black stars, a lot of our major black stars now are crumbling, the icons, the males at least,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying, due to their bad behavior in their personal life. It's the nuance. It's the thing that black excellence was made on.
Right, right, right. No, I feel you, bro. And I mean, that's why just another recurring thing that we always talk about, but like context matters. Like knowing your history matters or whatnot. As I'm like, I'm working on this like newsletter Substack project or whatever as well, bringing back my newsletter or whatnot, just on a new platform essentially. But really thinking about what is kind of fresh and what's new, but also still tying a lot of that back to lineage. Because I think in this current era that we're living in, especially within hip hop, a lot of the kids, I mean, hell, other things as well. It's all just aesthetic and nostalgia. They can only really see as far back as like around the time they were born. We'll just say Y2K and everything post Y2K at this point, which, you know, cycles tend to go in about a 20-year sort of trend cycle or whatnot as well. So I'm not mad at that. But like when you lose books, we've lost like print, we've lost a lot of like actual like cultural experiences. Film isn't what it used to be, the music experience isn't what it used to be, television isn't what it used to be, and then you're bombarded with constant media all the time. It's very hard. Also, I think it's challenging for a lot of, not to mention the education system and now the advent of AI. It's very hard, I think, for a young person to truly focus, lock in, and learn the way that prior generations kind of had no other choice but to be. There's a convenience that has come with technology as well as a it, you grabbing at a lot of things that butterflies out there, and
Yeah.
it's just um it's just a little rough right now, I think, for the kids. So what we're just kind of like copy and paste of what they used to do, and then you throw in like the lack of funding for art classes. We're not investing in creativity, we're not investing in innovation on a ground level. Not to mention you're discouraged to study liberal arts and all that type of stuff when you go to college because it won't be a good job. I mean, art never really paid. That was always the thing. You do it because you love it. I would encourage, if my kids was, you know, double major, major minor or something like that, do your art thing. I would still, you know, encourage them to try to at least go get something that they could get a decent paying job, because we also know the struggle of being an artist. And it's like that shit's not easy either. And I just wouldn't want that for my children. But we need people who are truly craftsmen, who are truly students of the game that they're trying to really learn. We can talk about that from a sports lens, from a music lens, fashion lens, media lens. And what we're seeing is just a bunch of kind of slop, bro. A lot of sameness. And that's because don't nobody have no other ideas. I
Yeah.
just I just saw a complex thing. I meant to forward it to you, but I might not have. But they just made a post, like a complex and print thing, talking about take these things off your mood board. Like everybody done it. We've seen it too much. It was like Belly, Y2K, Aaliyah, like all these various things of like
Mm.
aesthetics that people was jocking. And it was actually C was up under the comments on that post as well. So I liked that one and laughed at it. But she was saying, y'all, the call is coming from inside the house. This complex is also a perpetrator of doing that sort of stuff. But I felt like the point was being made. But then when your media entities, who also heavily hires younger millennials and Gen Z at this point, and they're just doing their jobs, like there's no core editorial or mentorship on top of that. Not to mention all the lack of education in between. We really are losing recipes, bro. We losing
Well,
recipes.
um, that is to say, is is complex a cultural reflector or a culture maker? You know what I'm saying? Are they reflecting culture or are they making culture? I think at this
Yeah,
particular,
at this point, yeah.
they are reflector. But
Mm-hmm.
me and you remember when
Mm-hmm.
they were making culture, they were out in
Yes,
front of it.
yes, yes,
I
yes.
I will say to the thing, if you're 25, right? There has been a consistency of,
So
you know what I mean? That's oof, Eve on the other
this
side.
is August, September 2004. I lost the other
Oh
cover.
shit.
It's been through the trenches, but hell, even the advertising. Like, come on, bro.
You know what I mean? Culture. And now that has been delineated to an Instagram post. And I guess that's kind of what I was going to say. If you were really trying to be a student of something, there's
Mm-hmm.
been a consistent, let's just say 15 years of people posted things on YouTube to where you can get into a lot of stuff. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
I was a child posting unreleased Neptune tracks that's still on YouTube to this day.
Mm-hmm.
To the point to where now I'm posting old Lil Wayne mixtape songs, and that's the biggest video I ever made.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, just saying that to say that like the information now is out there for these digital native kids, because you could just go listen to every Elliott Wilson interview. You can go back and listen to Combat Jack. Shit, you can go back and listen to anybody who was actually relevant today. We talk about Ebro, Peter Rosenberg, all these different people. Sway. It's tons of people where if you actually want to get on some rap shit, some sports shit,
yeah,
it's there.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It's all there. And so I'm feeling now that like, oh, we're about to hit into a space to where somebody about to crack a code for the new kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because to your point, we even calling out that like, oh, we can't even do the same aesthetic, which takes us to Juneteenth and how brands want to show up for Black people. And as a person who entered into the agency world before DE&I, when it was still just like multicultural Black and Latino, and then maybe the third thing was millennials at that time, in like 2012, 2013. It's like I've been able to watch that grow because I was the person that they were marketing to. I knew all the Sprite ads. I knew all these different things. Didn't know that I was getting culture and served up these things from people who were making a path for me. Even you think about like a Steve Stout and what he did with translation. You know what I'm saying? Like you think about all that kind of stuff. The A&Rs at that time, they were working for these boutique labels that don't exist in that manner.
Right, exactly.
We were getting it. So I have a clip, the first clip we've ever done. It's Joe Budden actually talking about the BET Awards, where culture is represented. That's BET's whole thing. This is where the culture happens.
One of the better ones in many years, too.
One of the better ones. Shout out to the BET Awards. Shout out to Alana. Alana is BET social media. We got to get her on the show. You know what I'm saying? There's tons of people to get on the show, but that's a good one right there.
No,
but he's talking about basically watching the Black ads and that experience. So let's take a listen.
Everything was fire. Mariah could do what the fuck she wants.
Pretty much.
Mariah coming out told me they spent a lot of money, but that wasn't the first time I thought it. The first time I thought it was when the racist Dove commercials hit. I don't know about y'all. Y'all was watching the awards. I was watching everything else.
Yeah.
Now, I've seen a lot of Dove commercials. And I use Dove. I've never felt seen watching them. It's normally mad white people doing white shit in the Dove commercial. Nigga, I looked up, they had girls with afros, all mad black.
They had the shea butter joint.
Yes, this was a whole, it was like a whole crew of Ari Lennoxes. So I'm at the edge of my seat waiting to see what brand this is doing this shit. They talking about Dove. Yo, I almost started crying. I said, baby, I think this is some racist shit.
They did a whole Procter and Gamble
P&G.
P&G segment.
P&G. Swiffer Jets.
All that.
It's fire.
Wait, hold up. Hold up. Walmart.
Everything came with an ad. I'm not mad at it.
The award was presented.
No. Walmart did it.
No, everybody do ads.
Yeah.
It's 2025. Everybody in the world, your least favorite podcast is doing ads. Joe's Boxers. It's the type of ad.
Yeah.
P&G, Dove, Walmart. Kevin Hart opens the show talking about these fucking autonomous cars parked outside. I'm like, yo, these niggas been racking it up.
And your man took all the DEI money away. So now we got to kind of try to get back in the good graces of the Negroes.
Right.
So we're going to give BET some money, nigga. What you talking about?
Oh, wait, they had Toyota?
Yeah.
McDonald's.
So that right there, the way that they listed all those things, the way that their perception of it is people who are media members, but not in advertising.
Right.
Not in advertising, culture makers. The way that they looked at that, we sit in strategy meetings all the time. Brands trying to align themselves and where should we represent it? How should we be? And it's to the point to where now it's like so obvious because we have Black brands now.
Yeah.
We have Black representation now. And so the fact that you all as white companies think that you can continue to just put black people in ads and black people won't notice, or that we don't know that we're being advertised to, it shows a lack of connection to actually what's going on. And are there new, better ways for companies to get the attention or the engagement from certain audiences?
Good question. I will say first and foremost, I like the ads personally. I'm a sucker for some good multicultural stuff.
I
Working
like the
on
ads too.
they definitely they were good. But there also is a long history of black people getting their own ads and things like that. They don't necessarily work at advertising, but I mean they're old enough to have seen more than enough of Sprite commercials and all these other things.
McDonald's.
They definitely come from a magazine newspaper generation, so they've seen these things in print, on billboards, so on and so forth. Even them damn Seagram's gin ads at the liquor store in the hood is different than the ones in the white people neighborhoods. So it's always been around. I think I like the fact that you were talking about there are black brands now. My one thing is a lot of them don't have the money to advertise on BET Awards show, and that's a pretty penny. And I mean, some could, but you really got to you got to pay for your creative and your strategy and all that shit. If you want to be, I don't know, I'm just going to name Shea Moisture. I think they might have sold at this point, but I'm just going to use them as an example. So you got to pay your ad agency to produce the shit and do all of the other stuff. Then you got to do that. Then you got to buy the media, and it's not usually just a one-time slot. You got to pay at least. You might as well at least do like a quarter block,
3 months at least,
12 weeks. So doing that is massively expensive, and I think that's a big barrier that smaller, more emerging brands have. It's easier to do some shit on social. It absolutely is. And I mean, BT has a lot of followers, so it might cost a little bit more to add on them, but BT partners with these companies all the time for content and, all these other things. So the black-owned brands have been able to manage to find space, but I don't know, for me, it kind of go back into like the circular economics aspect of it. Like I don't think BT is black-owned again anymore. Like I think Viacom, Paramount still got them or whatever, but like, that'd be tight if Bob Johnson cut niggas a deal. He like, shit, I'm a billionaire. We getting a lot of money already from McDonald's and all them X, Y, and Z. Let me bring through a couple of the other black-owned brands for like some sort of fellowship program or something like that, and still give them slots or banners or name a quick stage after them. I also did love that they had a lot of the smaller indie, independent, and emerging artists. They gave them actual good time slots as well. In the past, I've seen BET cut to them either being outside or do a pre-show thing. Incorporating them into it was dope. And I know MTV, they probably might do a version of that. I've seen some semblance watching the VMAs in the past, but typically as well, because MTV, you got big stars in these big moments for real. So seeing BET do that, but urban radio is a particular thing. Like Black people still use social media the most and the most efficiently. Black women above that, so when it comes to us, we gonna get our information out, we gonna share it, we gonna like it, we gonna subscribe, we gonna engage niggas in the comments, memes that happen, Twitter conversations on Black Twitter. All these things can become a thing if you playing the game right, or really if you get lucky. Like that shit is earned organic. That ain't no paid media to really get those cultural moments. So it still kind of comes back down to strategy and creative to try to at least be as aligned as you can. So if you got the little thing of oil, if the match strike, the oil can really like get set on fire for you. But I think it comes down to money more than anything. But Joe Budden right there with a podcast, if you want to be able to advertise to a Black advertising, like, bam, you already got your Spotify check. You can make more money, X, Y, and Z, but it's time for our platforms to start being more inclusive as well. Like Roland Martin has a lot of followers. Joe Budden has a lot of followers. These are platforms that they could be using to start getting more of that up out there as well.
You just said the blackest names you could think of. Me and you have been in agencies. No, but I'm being funny when I'm saying that, but for real. You just said that. You said Roland Martin.
Roland Martin, that nigga built something though.
But to that point, the advertisers, the media buying company will go with Charlemagne.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And so then,
Yes.
in which case, then you might as well just go with iHeart, because to your point, everybody wants the most value for what they can get. Like what we're talking about is actual niche marketing.
Right. If you're gonna
You
get black,
said,
get
I'm gonna
black.
get Roland Martin to start doing some shit. That is a niche as hell. But to your point, it's authentic. If he was really doing something and it made sense, it would make sense and it would be authentic. And I'm not mad at the initiatives that corporate America has to endear themselves to the communities that they make money off of. It's the least that they could do in the
Yeah, and I mean
reality.
they know it's good for business. It's just this weird political stance, and I think a lot of those corporations, because they want to make their shareholders money, otherwise they lose their job. So it's always profit and growth. If Trump were to actually clamp down on companies or corporations, or do some weird shit where like the Department of Justice is going to take on a bunch of like discrimination lawsuits because we're against anti-woke, anti-DNI right now. Like they were kind of nudged into making those things, but ultimately I never thought Target or Walmart cared. I'm here for boycotting because sure, like let's hold them to some shit, but I don't think that they care.
Yeah.
I work in advertising. It's 5 to 6% black people in advertising. If you think that our little bitty number up in there is cared about by most people, just within our sector, if we start talking about corporate, it get real ugly. When we talk about upper leadership, it get real ugly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I just know how money and capitalism works. So I never expected a corporation to give a fuck about my black body when they're still exploiting labor out here.
Yeah. And I think that corporations need to just tread lightly with the idea of Juneteenth. I feel like it's one of those things that like people still don't understand. They're not really trying to understand it either. Because I
They're
don't
trying to
think,
Cinco de Mayo us, bro. Cinco de Mayo not even a real Mexican holiday.
and to be honest, I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? Cinco, like they made it a federal holiday. You know what I'm saying? Which
Right.
I'm not mad at black people using the day to celebrate. You know what I'm
Oh
saying?
no, absolutely not.
I'm
Brands just
not
need to really be on their shit when it comes to talking to us,
right.
or do a contest, do partnerships. Like I do think that
They should
because
do
we ain't winning the reparations battle no
they
time
should do
soon.
nothing. They should do nothing for Juneteenth.
A corporation needs to set up a fucking $1 million grant, 20 motherfucking entrepreneurs, 50 bands, 10 of them, 100 bands, whatever. I'm here for monetary influx. Other than that, like I don't need Juneteenth decorations at Walmart though. Like I don't need that.
That shit
Same
is
way
so
queer
strange.
people don't need fucking pride beer bottles like that. We don't need to do that shit.
Yeah,
People do need money though. If you're gonna do anything, give money.
that's right.
Give money and resources. That's all I got. But other than that, you don't gotta do shit. Granted, that was more for BET Awards than it was for Juneteenth. But
And
those ads,
right.
But there are companies out there that are going to make social media posts, or it might be noticeably silent this first year of Trump. I ain't really been scrolling to see too much other than other black artists and creatives and black platforms. But I haven't actually seen like any of the companies that I fuck with and follow actually post anything.
Right. Me neither.
Yeah.
How are the protests in Chicago?
Ooh, they tense, brother. They tense.
Protests.
I haven't been able to actually like get in one just because work been actually kind of whooping my ass on the few days that they've been able to do it between gigging and 9 to 5. But bro, like the No Kings joint on what was that Saturday, the same day as the parade situation, said 75,000 strong just in Chicago alone, about 2.5 to 3 million across the country from small towns. They had people in like El Paso and Dallas in red state Texas out there showing up with by the tens of thousands. So this politics stuff directly correlates with the economy, which directly correlates with marketing and advertising. I'm always say that because it's the truth, but it's going to be a really interesting season for brands to be involved in. And I think sooner than later, it's going to be very hard to ignore the harder left younger people that are out there. I don't think that everybody is super politically particular things, but I think like I saw that there was some sort of like trans initiative shut down by the Supreme Court this morning or whatever. Like most younger people who will get older as older demographics age out and die just don't care about, like, these are simple things. Like, of course queer people should be able to get married. Of course, you know, we should not be fucking like killing women, and cops shouldn't be murdering everybody, especially black people and yada. Like, those are younger demographics, especially, are not that polarized on these issues. And they seem like left issues right now because of maybe the political spectrum. We consider the whole voting
because of
block.
social media, but like,
But those are yeah, that as well. It definitely plays a part into social media and the algorithms. But in real life, that shit is not that deep, bro. And they're getting pulled back in to this weird identity politics bullshit and being forced to do something. If you really want to worry about your money, you better stay on the right side of history. I'll say that much, because this shit is not gonna last forever. And even hell, Hitler died over in Germany, nigga, and Germany is I've been to Germany a few times now. They are not fucking Nazi land no more. Times change, and this time will change as well. This too shall pass. I don't know what it's going to look like as far as economics and all that, but when things go bad, people do band together a lot more. Ain't no telling the camaraderie and fellowship that motherfuckers might have to really get with, depending on how all this social climate shit happens. And a fucking brand is going to sit around and hop right back on the bandwagon when it's opportune. As soon as that new trend report comes out and it says it's time to do this and let's follow the fucking money. That's why every time they always talk about brands being authentic, you ain't got to be like always walking the walk of whatever audience that you're really speaking to, but it is actually standing 10 toes down in something. Otherwise, you look like fucking Mark Zuckerberg, bro. Censoring shit the first Trump term, but now want to do all this other shit, talking about you getting rid of fact checking. Like, no major social media platform should get rid of fact checking. Plain and simple. You just shouldn't. That is terrible business to do. And there's so short-term gain through profits on your quarterly reports, and all this shit in the stock market with your shareholders is stopping them from thinking about a long-term strategy. Well, short-term gains and long-term strategies typically don't go hand in hand. We watching Nike transition right now. That's a long play.
What is dang? I listened to Pablo Torres talk to the lady. Do you know the lady's name that used to be over Lena Khan, who was over the former commissioner of the FTC, Federal Trade Commission?
Okay, yeah. She was watching putting that belt to ass.
Putting that belt to ass. She was super young. She our generation. You know what I'm saying? So I watched Lena Khan talk about basically, illegal movements by corporations, building monopolies, doing all that kind of stuff. And something that you just said is like, when you don't have other options, these companies start to take the shortcut, and the product sucks. Let's just put it frankly. So because we don't have another option outside of Facebook can be like, oh, well, now we're not going to fact check. Now we're going to do the dumbest thing that we could possibly do, because we don't have anywhere else to go besides Facebook and Instagram and have the same impact and relevancy culturally. You know what I mean? Even as brands, as individuals, like, what are we going to just be off the internet? You know what I'm saying? It puts us in that position.
It's too deep.
It's too deep into it. You know what I'm saying? We're already entrenched inside of it. And so, I don't know, man. Like you just said, I don't think that the same issues that were big issues, gay rights, all this other stuff, they don't seem to have the same weight with these younger generations that they used to have. And so, like, what does that mean moving forward? Like you said, politically and culturally in America, are we going to band together to make life just more affordable? Because now we're coming up on generations who just can't. And okay, let's say in the next 20 years, the baby boomers are no longer here with us. They pass along a lot of that wealth. So maybe millennials, maybe Gen Zers get these houses, or they do X, Y, Z. But will they be so far in the hole that they can't even continue to own these commodities?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, will we already be too far gone? Will the corporations have already bought up all the housing? And so, like, where do those roads meet? And it takes me back to people being nice to Black people, because Black people have, in major cities, found a way to build community and to thrive in poverty, right? Majority white communities in poverty in rural areas. It ain't a large population of just po-ass white people in Chicago. A big
Right.
group of just po-ass po people in the St. Louis city. It's not.
Right,
They
right,
pushed
right.
on the outside. Black people, now Latina, Hispanic people, Latin people, Hispanic people have been able to kind of curate that and create that for themselves. That's why
Mhm.
Black people were so disappointed when we saw them leaning so hard towards Trump, who we knew for sure was a slave catcher.
Right, 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 right,
And
right.
happy Juneteenth, y'all the new slaves.
Right, right, right,
And
right,
so
right.
we just tried to be like, I wouldn't go over there. I know they
Right.
say it's sinners. I wouldn't
He
let
ain't,
them
he
in my house.
ain't, he is not looking out for you, brother.
I would not let him in the house. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And
Now
they
this
did.
is not what we voted for. Some young lady voted for her dad is old and sick in his 80s and sick. She wrote a letter, I guess, and read it on TikTok. Sob story. I do feel bad for these people. I wouldn't want this on anyone, but discernment is a motherfucker, man.
Man.
They say listen to black women. Yes, listen to black women. Also listen to black people.
Yes.
For sure, because the warning signs were right there on the wall. They're literally playing out what Project 2025 said. I don't expect everybody to read a 925-page document, but as you said earlier, to what you were saying, the information is out there. You got to care about it, but politics is such a weird popularity contest, bro. It's like a trending topic thing at this point. That's why the media spend on it is so high, because it's just like, how can you get if you got a good message or one that's effective, at least, I can't call it objectively good, but effective, and then if you spend enough money to get that message out there to people, you can kind of win. Like Elon Musk, when him and Trump got into it and he was like, you wouldn't have won without me, he wouldn't have. Kamala was actually right there on Trump ass until Elon came through here like, I'm gonna give people $1 million every day, every week or whatever,
right
up until voting day, and like literally flooding the gates in swing states. Like there was a strategy about it, because they don't, Trump's not going to win in California. You don't invest the time. I think we should also shift our political system, but that's a whole nother convo for another day. But the money and the advertising is absolutely a thing.
Right.
And yeah, it's going to get tough, bro. It's going to get tough. These people they got to start really looking a little bit more at history. And that's beyond just like our Latinos, brothers and sisters, Latino, Latina, Latin,
the Asians,
the AAPIs as well, because multiculturalism and the tanning of America, the diversification of America, is still inevitable. We could do this immigration bullshit all we want. I saw a video of his cat. He got deported. He said, I'll be back in a week. Bro was literally back in a week. He hollered at the coyote. Coyote got him through again, and he posted himself in another city. I mean, it could have been edited where it wasn't a week, but it looked like it was about a week. I ain't gonna hold you. But I mean, there's an infrastructure for this stuff. And the Border Patrol is like, they get kickbacks too. And they're scared of the cartel. The cartel is a fleet of militarized people at this point. Like this ain't no small thing. This is a whole underworld and industry built off of this stuff. A circular economy. The same thing with like war profiteering, bro. So we want to talk about this change and stuff. We really got to start looking at the bigger picture, because it's not just, oh, well, my family came here the right way, so yours shouldn't. Your parents might have, your family might have, but you were third generation, and the immigration situation during Reagan era was a lot different then. Reagan was actually pro-immigration. He actually was a big purveyor of where we got to our modern immigration structure as we have it right now, which is big and wonky and complicated, but it should be updated and modernized, not taken out and acting like immigrants don't make America great. A third of Black population growth over the next 20 years is going to come from Black immigrants. So we going to get more dance hall and Afro beats either way. but yes, like coming here, I'm not an assimilationalist where if you want to live in America, bam, bam, bam.
No.
Over time, you're going to be exposed to particular things that are pretty cool about people who don't come from the same background as you. You want to embrace those things and get into it naturally as well. That's one of the most beautiful things about America, is how diverse we are. If I lived in Russia, bro, and it was just nothing but fucking Russians who don't laugh and drink fucking vodka all day and punch very hard, I don't know if I'd be happy over there. And it's cold. Like America, it's abundant, bro. We have rainforests, swamps, deserts, mountains, urban areas, grasslands. We have it's a beautiful country at the end of the day. But we really got to do something about what it means to be an American in 2025. And then we can get into, you know, Black and Latin and da 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 da. But ultimately, man, we need to be on a unified front to actually coming together to move this country forward.
That's
And that takes all of us.
Yeah, it really does. You know, I know as we get into the summer, we're going to get a lot more music. So to your point, I'm hoping that we haven't heard the song of the summer yet, and somebody surprise us and give us something that we wasn't expecting. I know that we got a big slate of Hollywood blockbuster movies that are supposed to be coming back that I'm excited for sure as a moviegoer. But it does seem like there's something else on the horizon. It feels like it's something else bubbling underneath that I can't really put my finger on that's going to happen. But with the videos of the war that's going on with Iran, you know, culturally, to your point, I mean, this is not a big deal as far as the world, but shit, the Bus family just sold the Lakers. You know what I mean? So that puts the clock on for me for LeBron. The clock is on now.
Sure.
The clock is on now. You know, even watching him start to transition to that next phase or whatever it is that he want to be. You know, we in an era where blackness has matured in a way that I don't even think our ancestors 100 years ago, Langston Hughes and them could have even imagined. Jackie Robinson couldn't imagine a black man having a 20-year career. They talk about LeBron 22 years, Steph Curry, 16 years, James Harden 15 years, Kevin Durant.
Big deal. That's a beat.
And that's crazy. And that these guys have been able to create something that they can't get pushed out of. And also something that now they're starting to set up for their families. The nepotism that's coming in sports, to me, I actually like, you know, personally, just like as a fan, because it makes it
sports families are cool.
Sports families are cool. You know what I'm saying? I can always appreciate them. Local, national. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't always work in music, which I think is always the great equalizer, which is funny to me. Just because your daddy can rap doesn't mean you can rap, or people want to hear your raps or songs.
Creativity, man. Genetics versus creativity, two different ball games.
You know what I'm saying? And so I'm just excited, you know, to be honest. Like, I feel like we're living through an interesting time. I'm very curious to see who America wants to make its next president and the next leaders. Because to your point, will this wake people up to help us destroy the political system in which that we currently have now? You know what I'm saying? Like in 20 years, will we not be taking big corporation donations and just keep it grassroots? And
would love that. We need a new FDR run for real.
We need a new one. We need a new one. It seems like the table, maybe that's what I'm saying. The table is set for a new era in America. AI, I saw the study that came out that they saying after 4 months of using AI, your brain devolves, you get dumber.
So all them jobs is getting taken.
All them jobs getting taken.
If you keep your job, but now you gotta overlook the AI and do your prompt. You the prompt engineer now. You gonna get dumber over time anyway. It's oh, but also on the other side, I've seen that AI is starting to cannibalize itself because there's already so much AI generated content out there. It's starting to pull from AI generated content to regurgitate and create new content. So it's starting to kind of eat itself. Not to mention there's warning signs out there from a lot of like pioneers of this stuff. They're like, not to mention also some stories out there that it's like starting to do stuff. If you tell it like we're going to deprogram you or like cut you off on this day, AI is getting smart enough to like reprogram itself and then pop back up in the future and shit. So we really starting to get into some sci-fi kind of Terminator level
shit.
Right now. And that's actually no bueno. That's scary to think about for real. But
I actually want to end on this and talk to you about this because did you see? I'm a big I guess the biggest AI that I use is Midjourney. Okay. I use it a lot to brainstorm. I started using it for Souls of Liberty artwork. Okay. Just because it was just like a quick, easy way for us to kind of just make stuff, get it out the way. And you still got to be creative. And it was fun. Like a lot of the other programs, like I get you can make cool stuff on it, but on Midjourney, I can like look at other people's stuff and just
right.
Almost like in a Tumblr, Pinterest, like way, just scroll and look and just see what crazy stuff people creating, you know. And now they just added video. But
Oh
yeah,
wow, okay.
yeah, add a video. I think you can make like 10 videos or 4 videos for like 20 cents, something like that. And it's like basically the images that you create right there, and you can click animate, and then it'll animate the video for you. So it's based off the images and stills, but as an image generator, that makes total sense, you know?
Image to videos. That's not bad. That's not a bad innovation.
Yeah. But my question is, did you see Disney, Fox suing them for creation of Star Wars images, Simpson images, and things of that nature, which I always thought was coming because I'm like, well, now how can I just make Superman on here? You know what I'm saying?
Right. We might even talked about it last episode. I didn't see the one with Disney Fox, but that's awesome because I might have it wrong and it could have been them, but I think there's also another media corporation that's also filed a lawsuit in recent, like the last couple of days to maybe week or two or whatever, as well regarding, hey, we coming for our shit. And yeah, I think we might have actually talked about it because I think I also referenced that like one of the AI execs was like, if they come to us and start suing us, that'll almost like decimate the industry because so much of the AI
it's based off of
is based off of generative AI for real. I think there's a lot of stuff that we can still do with it. But yeah, man. And also, I will say it's very hard for both you and I because I imagine over at your job as well, they probably are encouraging y'all to at least start touching it a little bit. I know my job, we have proprietary stuff that's being like developed as well. And it's not bad. I'm mostly concerned, one, because so much of the process technical repetitive stuff, I'm okay with getting it out the way and leaving more time for creativity because I'm an actually creative motherfucker. But I'm very concerned with the sustainability impact of it, bro. It's really bad. And I feel bad every time that I use it. I'm not acting like I'm perfect. I try to be a little more conscious and aware of it and use it less compared to what I was using it. But like it burns a lot of water, and that's like water that can't get reused, repurposed, or anything. It becomes waste. We have to figure out something on the energy level, but also on the IP level. And I do think that these corporations have great, like, they should have good legal like bounds to be able to like reclaim a lot of this back. Now if we keep it at text or something like that, that's cool. I think Gen AI can still maybe pull a little something like the music. It don't always be sampled. It knows how to kind of like play something to the tune of now. So maybe more can be created from that. But yeah, I'm here for that. Like the Star Wars shit, don't do that. Don't do Elmo. Also, deep fakes. Get those out the way too, bro. Those are going to be very bad for people because that technology is getting really good.
And it seems like that's what I mean. Is there going to be a space for like AI, like people who like AI generated content in a similar way that maybe people who liked electronic music versus not? Because I feel like at the dawn or like in the mid-century, like in the 70s, like with Sly Stone and then we're coming out. Rest in peace, Sly Stone too. It's like when I could imagine I could be like 50 in 1970, and it's just like I don't want to listen to this electric.
Yeah, no,
music,
that was a moment. That was a moment.
I would imagine. I don't know. I would.
Yeah, no, it
as
was
a
definitely a
conversation.
moment. It was. I think it was bigger for like jazz. Like when Miles Davis came to a Bitches Brew, that was like a very like innovative thing because they usually all acoustic, yada yada yada. But Miles, obviously, at this point, he's established as a pioneer and a risk taker. So he pushed through and it ends up being a classic. And they say he's changed the shape of jazz at least 3 times with 3 different projects and shit, and Bitches Brew being one of them. But when it comes to stuff like rock and like funk and all that, they were already a little bit into playing the electric guitar. Obviously, had American Bandstand and stuff. So they needed to be plugged in order for the audio to kind of come through anyway. So on a broader sense, we were kind of already seeing that stuff, but like jazz, that's a purist type of like
that's a better example.
So maybe I think that we can see some sort of like lane for it, but I don't think that lane of people that want to consume AI slop that much is bigger than the people who like really love memes. Like, oh, I'm a meme maker. Like, I really love memes for everything. Like, I think it could be niche, but not massively niche to the sense where it's like, oh, I love generative AI work. You can tell it's not human, but like as far as the quality of the video and the imagery, it's getting real, real good and real, real close. It still ain't there, but it's evolved really fast and really well, because also it's pulling images and videos from everything that we post online. So it's scrubbing the internet and using our data to create the stuff. So the more that it's weird, bro. It needs to be regulated, because like people not gonna stop posting their videos and their content. People, hell, it ain't no jobs. You need to monetize your YouTube and your TikTok to survive now.
Right.
You risk the threat of like generative AI taking your concept. I've been seeing the man on the street like AI videos. Next, it'll be a pop the balloon video popping up, and it's like, oh damn, this is crazy, and it just really regurgitates the stuff that we post. We in a Black Mirror kind of era right now, bro. So we definitely need a lot of changes and a lot of like reform.
It scares me, but it's like if I get to be one of the first people that get to live forever in the Matrix, and they like, oh, we done developed heaven. You just got to keep working, like you said, in the Black Mirror. I get to go live in Street Volume 2 or something. I don't know.
Right.
Something crazy.
Purgatory, but it's really a video game.
Yeah, I get to live in the College Dropout.
right.
It's crazy.
The Roblox version.
Yeah, type shit. Like, yeah, dude. And, it's hard for me to judge it, because it's like one of those things that like I would like to know how many secretaries lost their job because they couldn't learn Microsoft 95. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of them. They said,
you know what I mean? It seems like it's closer to that, because to your point, like you make a really good point. Okay, we're these companies. We're going to invest in the video. We're going to invest in all these companies. We want to cut down on our minuscule work so we can add more value to our clients. And that goes across a whole bunch of different stuff. We're going to have less clerk work at the hotel so the people can be serviced better and all this different stuff, right?
Healthcare, yeah. A lot of industries.
A lot of industries. But it's like, yeah, how many jobs is that actually taking? Is like you said, does that mean each job requires less and you have to just be that much better, which is always in every industry, because I technically am probably better at graduating in 2013 as a writer and marketer than a person who graduated in 1983. Maybe.
Yeah.
But maybe not. Maybe. Like some things people feel like furniture builders or people who work on cars, because those require more. So it was like they were actually
and writing
better.
is a craft as well. I think now I think your advantage is probably because you're younger. You can probably be you're probably more equipped to speak to a younger, more attractive like demographic and like consumer base than someone who's maybe 45, 55 years old. They need to just work on insurance or like just be the OG like CD or whatever at that point. So I think you might have the upper advantage. But on the other side, I am a believer of like, just talking about working at your craft. Someone could still be a very good writer objectively because they just have put the reps in. They've tried shit, experimented, had to like overcome certain challenges. Like I still got like respect for the older, wiser OGs out there, but you absolutely have your advantages for sure. And you could also be doper. Like some niggas are nice.
Some niggas is nice. And that's what I'm saying. Now you just got to be super nice, because it's like, if you're going to go to now I will say this, unless you're going to college to be a doctor or a lawyer or something where you need a certification, if you're just going to use Chat GPT the whole time, well, what's the point of going? What's the point of going to college?
No, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what's
trade jobs about to boom? No,
you're not really proving nothing to nobody. You know what I'm saying? Saying that you cheated and did it, you actually not proving anything.
Right. You talking about buddy who like graduated?
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. He could be trolling, showing it, but he could. But I know that there's some people out there that's not trolling, that actually are doing that. Absolutely. And to them, it's just like it's only gonna end up biting them, because I wouldn't bet the over on the AI shit. I would bet the under.
Agreed.
Like, not saying it's not gonna have a massive impact, but the type of impact that they talking and how it could shake, I would still bet the under.
No, exactly. I think right now the people who have the microphones and have access to the pews to talk are the executives and the leaders of these. They're selling the idea one way or another. They're pitching it every time they're on 60 Minutes or CNN or at a panel discussion. They get this money and Bloomberg and yada yada. It's them selling their company so they can make more money. Most of them are talking about their vision that they have for it and what they see. And they could be telling the truth about some of the potential, but unrealized potential is literally just a coulda, woulda, shoulda. And I do still believe that there's some sort of bubble that will happen between whatever regulation, which is inevitable, actually happens. Like they tried to write that no state could fucking regulate AI and fucking crypto on a state level for the next
10
10
years.
years. Like that's ridiculous, bro. Like that's not
ridiculous.
even a reason to put that shit in the bill in the first place.
Unless you
So
know you're
like
about to do some bullshit.
exactly. So people are really like watching and paying attention close. People might leave America. There have already been people who've left them. I have friends who now live in London and Berlin and talking about moving to Amsterdam right now, and they hate the conditions that we in. At least Europe gonna give you some regulations or something like that and kind of clamp it down. But yeah, there's gonna be a lot of change. The thing is, the AI stuff not going nowhere. Like a good AI assistant can really help make your scheduling, your workday flow a lot more efficient and streamlined. And I think there's benefits to that. My main concern again is the sustainability aspect of it. It is very, very wasteful, but I do think we will see some sort of equalizing moment where they not gonna keep firing up. Microsoft just announced they're about to fire 8,000 more people or whatever, and 30% of their coding now is AI generated. So like it's definitely shifts happening. A third of your coders being fired with no other place to go because all the other corporations also got AI and trying to cut their costs. It's tough, but you know, between I think these sort of times in recessions, they always say this is some of the best times to actually start a business, startup or something like that, and really try to grow in a down economy. But we're going to be challenged as human beings to actually get on our shit and truly create. We have to figure out one more chance on a fucking political level how to beat these corporations again, and then on like a societal level how we can beat the machine. Because I was listening to a conversation the other day, a podcast with the godfather of AI, whatever. They said the Industrial Revolution, it was like machines beating the muscle of humans, and like this particular AI revolution and being like it's beating us up on a mental like knowledge work kind of basis. And it's true. It's that part is going to happen, but we can definitely impact and influence how big of an impact it is, or how just like how detrimental this can really be for us. But people got to be a little aware and actually talk about the ethics and repercussions and consequences of it instead of just whether or not a fucking man on the street video is funny or not.
Yeah, I love what you just said, and I'll end on this. Is that like to your point with the Industrial Revolution and where it ended up growing when we decided to take the factories out of America? You know, if you could go back in time, maybe you don't make that decision. It's like maybe you don't if you see. But if it's only going to be about power, and like you said, people aren't going to be aware and they aren't going to be involved, and they're going to be the ones that's left out. And it's so many families that if you could go back in time, I wonder how many of them would get involved, how many of them would go back, because now we could just document it. I don't know what the Reagan haters were saying at the time. I don't know what the Nixon haters were saying during that time. You know, it's all based off the papers and whoever is telling the history. But now we got to document it, what people really feel, you know, in a different type of way. So maybe it could have some good, you know, in that way. But to be continued. Yeah, man. So
Happy Juneteenth again. It's gonna get posted after Juneteenth, but these are some good conversations that definitely can be relevant through.
I'm gonna try to post this right now.
Next week.
We going
love.
right now.
All right. Well, let's get it going then.
Man.
All right, bro. I'll catch you.
Holla at y'all. Peace.
Peace.